What's up, Fire Dogs? Welcome to Coffee Break. This is episode number 4. Today I talk with Keith Collins. He works at Fort Huachuca Fire Department in Arizona. Today we talk about firefighter fitness. Keith, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us where you're from and where you work?
Sure. Well, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I work for Fort Huachuca Fire Department in Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we were talking a little bit before we hit record. We're talking about firefighter health and fitness. What are your thoughts on that?
So firefighter health is that's a pretty wellness health. It's a pretty broad brush to paint with. You know, I like to focus on the things that we can manage ourselves. We have a very high risk in our business of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, things of that nature. CDC did a study of 2014. They assessed 28 different professions and protective services, which, you know, fire, police, EMS, it had the highest risk of obesity among those 28 different professions. And
that's a pretty crazy statistic, man.
Yeah.
What is it about? What is it about those career fields that you know make people obese, I guess, or unhealthy?
You know, that's a very good question.
Maybe the hours, maybe the stress.
Yeah, it could be. You know, after I got out of the military, I did work for a brief period of time in the private sector, in EMS and fire service, before I started working for the DoD again. And you know, when you're running call after call, it does get a lot easier to, you know, hey, we're just going to go pick up fast food because it's the only thing that we have to eat. You know, you got the sleep deprivation, that causes you to want to eat more. And then, you know, you're just not, a lot of times, you're not prepared, you know, habit defines us, right? So, yeah, I think that contributes significantly to those issues.
Yeah, maybe that time spent on calls or the time not sleeping. You neglect fitness a little bit. Maybe neglect the way you eat.
Right.
You know, we've all been there where we've been sleep deprived, and you just want to sleep. You want to eat whatever you can, and I guess chronically that'll cause problems over a period of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could be. Of course, I'm no scientist, and I haven't seen the studies, but I guess just thinking about it, that'd be my take on it.
Right. Exactly.
What do you think about firefighter assessments?
Yeah. So, you know, I've been in the fire service for a long time. Most of my adult life. And I've worked for several different agencies. Like I said, I work civilian side, and I'm a civilian now, but for the DoD. You know, some departments, they have a tough time even meeting the NFPA standard, you know, 1582 and 1583, for firefighter physical health assessments. And I think those are important to be met, you know. Firefighters, in the course of their job, will exert roughly about 12 METs, METs. So that's metabolic equivalent tasks. And to give you a reference of what that means, so 8 METs is about what you would expend playing recreational football, you know, throwing the ball around with your buddies. You're going to use about 10.7 on a treadmill running at 6.5 miles an hour. So that should give you some kind of idea of the level of exertion in this profession. I like to think of firefighters as industrial athletes. And if you're not thinking about yourself in terms of being an athlete, I think it's really important to start putting yourself in that mind frame, being prepared for that, because honestly, not being physically fit, not having the correct assessments, like we were just discussing, that's part of what leads to those heart attacks, that heart disease. And physical fitness within itself is commonly seen as an aid to reducing risks for cancer and diabetes and other health issues. So to me, it's a whole person concept. Getting those assessments done and getting them done adequately.
So we talked about this a little bit in an episode number 17, I believe. Anyways, we talked a lot about fitness. Why are fire departments not adhering to 1582-83? What is it about? Because everything that you just said, why would anybody not want to adhere to that? Why would anybody not want to be healthy? Why would anybody not want their firefighters to be healthy? Why are firefighters or fire departments not adhering to 1582 and not doing occupational assessments on firefighters?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think the biggest part of it is probably fear. People are afraid that they're going to lose their jobs or that they're going to lose firefighters by making them push that envelope, by making them get into that level of discomfort that's needed. If you're going to grow, if you're going to change, if you're going to improve, you have to be willing to face that discomfort. And that goes for everything across the board, not just fitness. It goes for becoming a better firefighter in general, becoming a better professional in general. You have to find that level, face that discomfort. But, again, people are afraid that they're going to lose their job. I think those people have a misunderstanding of the intent of 1582 and 1583. 1583 says specifically that it's not supposed to be punitive, right? Meaning there's not supposed to be any kind of repercussions. In my view, the idea behind it is you take this firefighter who is not healthy, who's, got a room for improvement, and you give him or her a goal and you say, okay, you're here, we need you to get here. And when you do that, you reduce those other risks, those other issues that we were talking about, the cancer, the heart disease, the diabetes. When you avoid providing those proper assessments, that's when those risks start to compound, because now firefighters don't have the resources that they need in order to be healthy and to get to retirement, or to live healthily and happily into retirement.
So just to clarify for the listeners, what's your position where you work? You're a floor firefighter, right?
Yeah, I'm a lieutenant. Yeah. So,
and I don't want to take away from what I know that you obviously you sound well read on it, but just so our listeners are clear, he's not a health and safety officer, but this is just his informed opinion.
So I have a master's degree in public health.
Well, there you go, right there. So that's qualified enough.
Firefighter Health and Wellness was my basically what I wrote my thesis on.
Awesome.
So yeah, but you're right. I'm not a safety officer. I'm not a health officer. I'm a company officer. But this is something that I consider myself, I guess, a bit of an expert on. And to me, being an expert just means something that you stay continually engaged in. You continue to read and learn and discuss.
Right? Certainly. Yeah. So, and you don't have to be a health and safety officer to have a vested interest in your fire department or your firefighters, right? As a crew level leader, you should know about these things and you should be concerned, or not concerned, but you should care for your firefighters, your peers and your subordinates and even your leaders, and want everybody to be better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to me, everything starts at the individual level. It starts with individual accountability. So, thinking on that level, what can I do to get better? Right. And then how do I, share that with, my teammates?
Yeah, you make a good point that you kind of have to set the example. You can't go around saying, "Hey, you should do X, Y, and Z." Maybe you should do X, Y, and Z, and then go tell people. So you got a little credibility behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lead by example.
Yeah, sure. Do you guys do fitness assessments in your department?
Yeah. Well, we have our annual physical, and then we do since we're in the West in Arizona, we do the pack test.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been designed by the Forestry Service to measure firefighter fitness capability for wildland firefighting. So it's not the same. Honest, I would love to see us actually do the traditional 1582 or 1583 assessment. But we do have an evaluation here, yes.
Yeah, well, maybe eventually. And I know the Air Force is steering in that direction. They're I know you you don't fall under that, but eventually the Air Force will be there, and maybe that'll drive the rest of the DoD to follow suit. There'll be fitness assessments for both military and civilian across the enterprise, and it'll be firefighter specific. Obviously, military already participate in something, but right. it'll be firefighter specific, where you have to do tasks that mimic what you do on a fire ground. So it's in the future. So
well, I mean, I have some thoughts on how we could achieve those assessments across the DoD. So here at within the Army, we have what's called the Army Wellness Center, and the Army Wellness Center actually does pretty much all of the assessments that are required within 1582. So for us, it's just a matter of maybe making an MFR or something to that effect, making an agreement really, and working together to get that accomplished. And then, for the Air Force, it's been about 8 years since I worked for the Air Force, but I imagine either within your occupational health area or within your MWR, you probably have access to personal trainers or dietitians or medical professionals who can provide those assessments. So again, it's just a matter of making those agreements. We had talked offline before you hit record about one of the complications that we have, which is the shift work, right? Where I'm at, we work a 48-72. Some departments work 48-48 or 24-24. 1582 requires that you have a peer fitness trainer, right? And that's not always the easiest thing to do when you have rotating shifts, to have a continuous person available to train your firefighters or to keep them on track. To me, you kind of have to look outside of that box and go, okay, well, we can't necessarily have a peer fitness trainer for every shift, but maybe we can have a fitness trainer at the gym on post or something that can work with us to meet these goals for our firefighters.
Yeah, certainly, man. Great points, Keith. I appreciate you talking to me today. Do you have anything else before we finish up?
No.
Cool. Well, yeah, man. Thanks again.
All the boxes.
No, a lot of great information. I appreciate you sharing. It's awesome to hear, insights from people across the DoD, firefighters across the DoD, and obviously a guy with a master's degree who did a thesis on a health and safety related topic. So I appreciate your time, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you.